Are we live now?
Yeah, I see that we have the recording thing around us, but I don't see the live stuff on top of us, so I'm not sure.
Wait, 1 second. Paul,
Jo,
kommst du kurz in Creators Call?
jo.
Ich habe irgendwie,
Nee,
können
ich
wir
heute
nicht.
nicht. Ich komme
Okay,
jetzt
doch,
rein.
ich glaube, wir sind live. I think we're live. Ist rein?
Hast du gehört? Heute bin ich nicht dabei. Ich tue heute nicht.
Okay, aber check mal ganz kurz, sind wir live? Are we live? Is there people in here already?
Kopiere einfach mal kurz oben den Link, mach ein Fenster auf, poste den Link rein, dann siehst du, ob es live ist. Außen.
All right, we'll try to figure it out. Okay, danke dir. Ciao, ciao.
Okay, bis später.
All right, let's see.
I see people in the audience, but I don't see if we are live. I see that we are recording anyway, but not that we are live.
It says live up there, so I hope
Okay,
if people can see that, then please give us a quick look. Because for some reason it doesn't show me the audience members. We can see you.
Okay, they say that we can see they can see us, so that's fine.
That's awesome. Welcome to today's Creators Call, everybody. Welcome, Manuela. Hope you're feeling. Are you okay? You are sick, right?
Yeah, better now. Yeah, I can articulate better and I can live better. Yeah, better than last week's. It was
okay. Perfect. Did you make the announcement post for the community?
Yep.
Awesome. Cool, guys. Welcome. I would like to. Manuela already announced it. This call will be a bit more specific because we talked about it in last call. I would like to give you a hands-on real sales conversation that I had with a client. Would like to break it down, how the sales process went, and I would like to showcase what the concepts were, how the communication went, how long it took, and just like a very hands-on, kind of breakdown of what goes into that or can go into it to having closing a client and working with them. But before we do that, I would like to show you something really cool update-wise for the community. And that is that we are working on, as I told you, we are working on a new module, one of many, which will be focused on compositing. And compositing meaning blending real and CG footage together into one single shot in Blender and After Effects and DaVinci. And this is currently one of the shots that Carlo, who's doing the module, sent me. The background is not real. This is real. Sorry, this is a real background. This is real footage. And he implemented the car. It will be more refined, but this is kind of the shot that we're going to create. He also sent me a few other reference pictures that I can show you right now. Just a little sneak peek that we're working on something cool. So yeah, this is going to be like one of the shots that he will be breaking down in Blender, how to track something, how to make the lighting look realistic, how to do all that stuff. So this will be covered in the compositing module. I'm super excited for this because Carlo is super great guy. He's been working in the film industry, in the Hollywood VFX industry for a while now, and he's going to be sharing some great value. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Big update coming April 1st. We're pretty close actually. So yeah, just wanted to show that real quick. Before I go deep dive into something, Manuela, would you want to kind of summarize what the topic for today's call was? I mean, we talked about it, but oh, Carlo's here. Carlo, welcome. Yeah, Carlo, I am so ready for this module. I think a lot of people are waiting for it. It's going to be super sick. So yes, stay tuned for that.
Yeah, so what is expected for today is that we're going to cover the in-depth exploration of a real-world client interaction. So generally speaking, I think you are going to show as hands-on a practical strategy for managing client communication during the sales process.
Exactly.
And you are going to share your tips, I think, to enhance your engagement with clients. So yeah, this is what I summarize in our post, and this is what we're going to see.
Yes, exactly. Just like as a quick introduction, obviously, I am not, there's no blueprint to closing a client. There's always stuff happening. I have so much stuff, that will happen maybe, but I've also had so many cool stuff that could have happened and that didn't happen. So it's never a, you know, you don't know what's happening on the other side, but I think you guys know that. But I just want to show you like an example of what one conversation with one client looked like, and kind of like some tips and tricks and on how to do that. This is an ongoing campaign with Mazda that I will be shooting this week. This is not done yet, but I just want to show you real quick, because I think the whole conversation went pretty smooth, and like there's a few cool elements that we can touch upon to kind of showcase how we got to this point where we're you know, now here and I'm shooting this stuff. So let's start right out. The main I've screenshotted the emails and kind of censored everything that you know, includes names and like details. I cannot show everything in detail, nor can I share the exact price and everything, because there's like some NDA stuff going on. But I just want to show you, I think you still get a good understanding. So usually how the email looks, I'm just going to show you the first email that was sent out. Can you see that? Is it readable?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So usually what happens, and this is just, you know, this is a specific email, but this is kind of like what the emails now look like or can look like when they reach out, is a simple email saying, hello, my name is XYZ and I work for Mazda Europe, for an example. Nice to meet you. They usually see the profile and the amazing content, blah, blah, blah. And then best case scenario, they directly ask for a video call and talk about it. This is exactly what I would like as the first step, to have a direct call with the client, because sometimes what happens is that they reach out. That happens a lot of times, actually. Before you do anything, they ask for a quote. You know, we love your stuff. How much is XYZ? What are your rates? And I usually 90% of the time don't give them a quote right away without knowing anything about the project, without knowing too much about the company itself. And if it's serious clients, they will usually hop on a call to kind of talk about it a bit more. So yeah, in this case, they were open to joining on a call directly. But yeah, since this felt pretty legit, the email was from us, so the branding, everything felt like it was real. I was like, okay, this is legit. Let's schedule a call. So this was their first email. And they asked for a portfolio or document where they can check the work and, you know, yeah, that stuff. Next email I sent them was, I think was the next day, you know, just quick hello email. This sounds like an exciting opportunity. I'm happy to discuss further details with you. Sent them 2 examples of my work that I think specifically picked for what I think could be interesting to them, since it's a car brand. I picked references. I mean, I have a bunch of references of like cars, but I sent them 2 reels that I think, you know, could work best with what the brand for me represents as like an idea. So I usually approach this in a way where I don't give them like just overload them with references, because they will most likely not look at all the stuff, but rather just share 2 specific reels that they can look at. And also directly gave them a link. This is something I would suggest you guys do to have a Calendly, or we have a Go High Level account where we can schedule meetings, because the back and forth with email and finding times and all that stuff is very, you know, very old school. And I usually include a booking link directly, so they can book the link, and they just click on it and they will be directed to this page where they can just schedule a call and time, and then, you know, no need to further talk about email and times and time zones and whatever. This makes it easier. I usually include that as like the first thing as well. And in addition, I've also given them my pitch deck or media kit that is a bit more specific to what I do, and talks not only about or is not only a link to my work, but rather a full presentation that is, I can show you that right now in a second. But I would suggest you create something like that too, with a bit of text information and like a bit of stuff that makes it really feel like you know what you're doing. So these are the 2 things I sent them in addition to the reels. And I just want to show you what the pitch deck looks like for me. This is my pitch deck that I usually send out to companies that I that I want to work with, or that when they ask for something, because usually, it's good to have a portfolio in place, but it's better to just send them a link to a presentation that works for you, right? So instead of like just giving them links and videos to look at, this also kind of presents the videos in a better way and talks a bit about the numbers. So I just want to go through this pitch deck super quickly so you guys can maybe get like an idea of what I do. This is like the presentation that I did on pitch.com. By the way, great website for creating presentations, pitches, whatever it is. I always go for pitch deck. For pitch.com, so you can create your stuff on there super easy. So this is a short introduction about me, with like some BTS footage of me working, and then goes straight into the references. I include like different videos of mine, and also for this one, when you're doing like pitch decks and media kits, I think it's good to not overload those with references, but rather keep them to the most powerful ones. And also brand references are a good thing. So you can see here is like a little description of the project. And also, by the way, can you read this? Is this big enough, or should I?
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, maybe with a cell phones could be different, but yeah, on a computer.
Yeah, maybe I can do full screen, so maybe that's better. So yeah, just like this is pretty self-explanatory. It gives a bit about the numbers, and obviously presents it in a very very powerful way. Viral success, blah blah blah, everything that sounds very powerful. So then another brand reference, another car brand reference is this one, also with the numbers. You can see if they click through, it just looks a bit more appealing than just sharing them the link to the video. Makes it look very professional, makes it look like this is not only a cool video that I do, but this was a planned campaign. This was like professional work. This was, just presenting your work in a good way. So this is for another reference. Then this one, another brand reference, maybe in a different, this is not only car brands, but this is also other stuff. So I have 3 references on my media kit that are very specific to brands, and that are very powerful videos with good numbers and good descriptions. So just proven concepts that have worked. Then going over a bit about what the creative highlights and visual impact is, just kind of like talking a bit about how I approach projects in general, what my vision is, and what my unique style is, in a way, so that they get better understanding. Because you cannot expect the brands to reach out and be like, yo, I'm going to look through all your portfolio and have my own opinion about you. They usually just want like one presentation that they can also show to their superiors and bosses to just present a creator in a good way. It's good to have this in place, by the way. It's just like a link that you can share with everybody who would like to see more, and if they're interested, they can look at it. Then just a few more references, but like a few good numbers, and just like something that looks good, just to fill it up and to make it look like I know what I'm doing. Then also creative approach, what sets the work apart. And then also, what the results are, social media account, global brands, blah, 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 all that stuff that feels very good and professional. So they can, they have my contacts here. They can book a call. They can go to my Instagram. Pretty simple, but pretty effective. And I think presents it in a very professional way, and gives you the chance to just share one link that you can send out to everybody. So I would highly suggest you create one of those pitch decks yourself, maybe using pitch.com, because it's really easy to do that on there. So that was my initial response. And they reached out, they booked a call. That was awesome, because they, usually sometimes they don't do that, and then you just follow up, and then sometimes they don't reach out again, and then this is what happens. This is reality. But in this case, they clicked on a link. There were no further emails in between. They just clicked the link, and the next point of contact was us in a call with a meeting scheduled with a topic to talk about.
How long did you wait for the meeting? I mean, when?
I think they booked it. They booked it like I don't know, like within a day or two.
Oh, okay.
And it was just like a meeting that was like, I don't know,
super quick. Yeah.
In a few days from that. But sometimes, again, it takes for them. Sometimes it takes a while to book the call. Sometimes they don't book the call at all. But if there's no harm in following up. You will see this later on in this whole conversation here. But yeah, so we had the call, and I kind of summarized this. This was when the call happened on Wednesday, January 22nd. And what I like to do is directly after the call, or not later than a day, follow up with everything that we talked about. Let as little time pass in between the information that we talked about. So I just thanked them for the call today. This was actually on the same day. So great to connect, discuss the possibility of the campaign, blah, blah, blah. As mentioned, I've prepared, oops, my bad, sorry for that. As mentioned, they were obviously asking for a rough price estimate. And this is something that I like to do via email, not really via call. When it's a brand like this, when I know they have, it's a big brand, right? I know they have budget for this campaign. They have an allocated budget for this campaign. So I usually don't mention that in the call. I usually just try to collect as many details as possible, so I understand what they're looking for. Also comes in handy because it's a very easy conversation to have. Talking about prices is usually a bit uncomfortable. And when just talking about creative campaign, creative approach, and just listening to what they really want to do and really giving them the feeling that their vision is special, what they want to do is really unique, and I understand it and I know what they want. Like, this is how I want to end the call. And then the last thing is obviously, and for all this, I'll just send over a quick price point and then we can start right away. So make the barrier of talking about a price seem as small as possible. This should not be the limiting factor for them. Neither should it be for you, but this is obviously a big conversation to have. So what I usually do is I just send them over a quote with like a rough price estimate, not giving a number in the email, but just like attaching a file that is down here. And also included another few references because they were asking for it, because they wanted to know what could work for their campaign, especially. Yes, and then also letting them know that once we move forward, also when I do those emails, I not only send the price quote and have them get back to me, but instantly give them the next steps. What are the next steps? Once you say yes to the price, what will we do? How will this project go? So so that they feel like, okay, it's our turn to just be like, okay, is this price okay or no? Because we really want to start this project. So and then for this one, I just told them that once we move forward, I'll create a custom concept centered around one of your products to ensure it aligns perfectly with your brand and campaign goals. Let me know if there are any questions, blah, 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 blah. Adjustments to the quote. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Pretty easy, pretty simple, but gives them, enough to know where we're sitting, what we're talking about, and then also what the next steps are. I always put in next steps. What are next steps? How do we move forward? How do we keep the ball rolling, right? This is like very important to keep a conversation going. Yes, I'm a bit scared that I forgot to blur anything important here, but I think I'm good.
I'll double check, but yeah, it seems that this one.
I think it's okay. So then a day later they responded, said it was great speaking to you yesterday. Thank you for sharing a rough estimate. In order to understand a bit more requirements on our side, could you maybe let us know what kind of 3D data you would be requiring, and also need to shoot the car? Also, with the final, would you share the final content as well in your portfolio or as a collaboration post? So what I did with the price estimate was not include too many details, but just give them like a rough production fee. Gives me room to adjust when they're asking for additional stuff, like co-posting the stuff on my portfolio, additional stuff that is very easy for me to do, but can add up on the quote. And for them, this is a great response. By the way, for me, it means that they saw the price, they're somewhat okay with it, and they have additional questions, right? If price was a big problem, they would point it out. In this case, they have specific questions to how the process would run, meaning they're interested in moving forward because they've seen the price now, it's on the table. Let's talk about how we move forward, right?
I have a question. I don't want to see, the Angry-Bots, the offer that you made.
Yeah.
Just to know, so you reported there like a kind of package and what was included, or
yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's more like it's a list of what the base production fee looks like. It's like a headline called base production fee for creative video, and then how many, just one price point, and then description of how much of what is in there. Creative concepting, pre-production, post-production. Just make it sound as packed as possible, so it feels very powerful. And then
report also the length of the video, or where?
Yeah, I usually also put like details on how long this will be, 30 to 40 seconds. I usually discuss this with them beforehand. So I try to get as much information as possible from them in the first call to understand what they want, as best as possible before I do the quote, and then only send them the stuff that I know they asked for, and try to not overly saturate the quote with stuff that they haven't even asked for. Because at the end of the day, what they can do is when they have a number, the number will not grow, right? They will usually not say, okay, they will use this as like the reference, and they can just cut out stuff. We don't need this. We don't need that. We don't need that. Whereas when I just share them like a rough estimate of just what the base production fee is, I can add features. Well, this will come on top. This will come on top once I get a better understanding on how much budget they actually have. Do you know what I mean? If I just send them everything right away and go for like my maximum, they could just cut stuff out. This is like a different way of communication. It always comes down to the client, always comes down to the communication, how you had the communication. So this is not a blueprint again, but this is how it went in this case, and it worked really well.
Because they, for example, are saying what kind of 3D data will be required.
Exactly.
Did you report that as part of the requirements, or?
I'm sorry?
Did you report the 3D data?
Yeah. I told them that I would need 3D data. I told them what not just telling them, okay, we can create this video, but being very specific. Sometimes it's also good to ask them for stuff, and not tell them that you will do everything by yourself, but rather to just ask them for, okay, I need this data from you. If you want to make this happen with me, I need this from you. I need that from you. I need that from you. Otherwise they feel like, okay, who is this guy? He doesn't really know what he's doing, right? But if I just come in and be like, okay, if we do this video, I need that from you. If we do that, I can additionally add this on top, but I will require that from your side. You need this information, blah, blah, blah. So they have something to work with. They feel like, okay, we work on this together. I'm at the end of the day, obviously I need 3D data, but like pointing that out in the first stage gives me room to talk about that stuff rather than discussing about the price even more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was more to clarify and understand also the content of the offering that was.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that in a second. So what I pitched them was one video, first of all, and that one was not too specific. This was more just like general creative video creation. How much does this cost? And then I went back, and this is where the follow-up happened. Tell them, hey, thanks for your message. The only thing I would need is a model. Formats like FBX, OBJ work fine. Current video, I'd be happy to shoot the car as well. Depending on the concept, I would create a more creative personal video on my style, similar to the G-Wagon video for reference, with myself in front of the camera. Or we could take a more traditional approach and work with a cast, see Mercedes clips for reference. At that point, we were still trying to figure out whether or not we're going to bring in real people or not. And I decided to not do that because it saves time, saves budget, and makes the whole thing a lot more easy if I can just do everything in 3D. Yes, either way, I'm a big fan of combining 3D and visual effects, blah, blah, blah. As for co-posting, that's absolutely an option. If I get the chance to create a video for this campaign, I'd be more happy to share it on my account as well. Let me know your thoughts and if there's anything else you'd like to discuss. I'm happy to start working on a concept soon. So at that point, we have January 23rd, and 5 days later, I didn't get a response from them, which usually just means that this sometimes happens, and I always follow up. So in this case, I sent them a follow-up email on the January 28th, just a quick check-in. Wanted to follow up on my last message. If there's anything further you need from my side or specific details you'd like to discuss, blah, 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 ready to move forward as soon as we align on the next steps. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Also, sometimes what can work great in a follow-up like that, sometimes not in this case, but sometimes what I do is to tell them, hey, kind of like make it clear that this is urgent, because at the end of the day, it's not about me, begging for their commission. It's more about, hey, if you want to lock this in, I need to know now so I can plan accordingly, right? I'm busy. I have other stuff to do. There's other brands approaching me. This is how I present myself, and kind of feels like, okay, if you want to work now's the chance. Follow up. Let me lock this in, and we can do this. Otherwise, I just need to know whether or not we're making this happen. So in this case, I didn't say that, but sometimes I do. And yeah, just following up. They reached out back, said, hey, sorry for the late reply. We'd like to move forward and ideally talk about 2 different videos. That means that they've seen the quote, and I probably could have charged more for the videos. I was like, okay, if they have the money, because I sent them the quote for 1 video, and they were like, okay, double it, meaning I could have probably charged more. But this is, again, learning for the next time, hopefully working with them in the future again. You never know. Sometimes you overshoot, sometimes you undershoot. In this case, I probably undershot a bit. I'm not too mad about it because it's still good money. But again, like this just means, okay, we're aligning on the video. That's awesome. Add 2 different videos, one where you could entirely do your thing after understanding a bit more about your brand, and another one with a bit more of a briefing. Is this feasible to be final?
So they intended that the offering was including the 2 of them.
No, they knew it was one
okay.
video, and they were like, okay. we want to have 2 for that price. We want to have 2. So I probably could have charged way more.
Yeah, now that you know which is roughly their pricing next.
But I didn't know that before, so I usually went with my base fee. But I added some additional features just because I knew they had more budget, and I was like, okay, let's add this on top. Let's add that on top. And
you
yeah, so
that. Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but still, I think that there probably would have been a bit more to get. But again, you never know. This is always like a guessing here. So in this case, they were asking for the timeline being finalized until end of March, which is in 5 days, by the way. I haven't done anything yet. But yeah, we talked about it.
But we know you, right? So you told us that you work better when you are on pressure time.
I work better when I'm under pressure. Yes, that's true. Yeah. So in this case, yeah, they were asking for the timeline. This is obviously a bit more specific requirements. Yeah, and then this at this point I knew this was kind of locked in. Obviously there was no signature, no nothing yet, but this felt like, okay, we're keeping things moving. They're aligning with the quote. Let's just keep this thing up. And then yeah, next thing was obviously me getting back to them. Timeline works. I'll be able to deliver both videos by the end of March, which is not the case because we extended the deadline a bit because the car would only arrive. It will be arriving tomorrow, actually. So yeah, we'll extend the deadline a bit. That was not too big of an issue. Excited to move forward with this. And then this is one big thing for me. I like to be in control of timeline and also let them know how we keep things moving, right? And not waiting for them to tell me, okay, what are the next steps, but instantly telling them, okay, how do we move forward? How do we keep things rolling? Just to lock this in as quick as possible, because every single day that happens without moving forward, this is a chance for them to be like, okay, maybe we do it with someone else, whatever. And that's why I suggested the next steps. Short call, briefing document where I can get a deeper understanding of brand identity, key messaging, creative expectations, concept development. Based on our discussion, I'll put together initial creative concept for both videos, one with full creative freedom, blah, blah. Approval pre-production. Once we align on the concept, I can finalize details such as location, assets, and any additional elements needed for the shoot. Let me know your thoughts. And always, trying to keep things moving forward. That ended with, yeah, them, I think, setting up another call. And then from there on, it was just pre-production. And I started working on the concept. I got, they were actually German, which I found out later. So we started talking in German after this. And this was more about the internal process and what the restrictions are. So at that point, I knew, okay, now we're in the stages where we're just talking about how things are moving, what documents I need to fill, all that stuff. And that was kind of locked in. I just want to show you, yeah, this is kind of like how the conversation went. And then I think there were another call that was scheduled for talking about the concept. This is something I would like to also go over in a bit, or right now actually. What concept did I prepare for them that was enough for them to be like, okay, let's work with that guy? And I think I've already shown it in the last creators call, just like a tiny bit. And I am not super sure if I'm 100% allowed to show everything here, but I think I am, because this is just my concept. There's no internal data in there. So I prepared a super simple concept. It would have probably been enough to just write down my ideas and just send it to them. But what I feel like when I am going into a call and I have something to show, I have something prepared, I feel prepared, I have something to talk about, I can share it with a lot more excitement, a lot more confidence. It supports me in conveying my ideas a lot more in a way better way, and also visualize them a bit. So and also make it feel special, right? Having a concept in place and a pitch deck just feels like, okay, we're talking about this specific project, and it's not just me talking about a few ideas, but having them written down, sending it to them, just as a written format. So this is kind of the rough concept that I've prepared for them. This is what we agreed on. One collab post with them and me, and just a few references of what they liked from my page. And then this is how I prepared the storyboard for the concept. It's very, looks pretty shitty, but it was enough to kind of understand the idea. And also, they don't need to understand everything, here. This is very, but it feels like I know what I want to do, right? This feels like they understand that, okay, I've sat down, I've done the ideas, just, leaves them with a feeling of, okay, Lenny has done his work, he knows what he's going to do, we just trust him with it, and that's all I need to create something. So I wrote down the rough concept. This is kind of the idea that I had here. I'm going to shoot that on Saturday, walking around, having this kind of effect, not really like that, but having the car assemble around me as I'm walking, and then transition to 3D and have a cool effect here. And then a looping video.
Last time you anyway draft everything in a 3D program anyway. So
yes,
it's done by you anyway as a concept. It's not maybe finalized as a rendering, but anyway,
I could show you the tool that I use for this one. Can be interesting. I mean, nowadays I would probably, I've tried it out, and I think I work faster and more effective and better in Blender. But if you don't have Blender, and if you're, I don't know, a videographer, this is a great tool that you can use. I can show you that right now. What you can do is just create a new scene, and it's like, it's like again, this is meant for storyboarding, and what you have is like a really raw block out of the scene. And you can, it's not that intuitive to navigate around, I'm going to be honest, but you can move things around, and it's super easy to just, drag and drop things around. You can change the camera angle, you can move the camera in a different position, and you can switch to the camera view and just move around, rotate it, and just frame your shot, right? You can also, there's so many things you can do. This software is called Previs Pro, and you can change, for example, the pose, have him be in a different pose, and then just align your shots in a way where you feel like it makes sense for you. And you can also add different things to the scene, but I don't want to make it too in-depth about the software, but this is the software I use. It's called Previs Pro. And you can use it for storyboarding, but again, I think I work better in Blender, just blocking out the scene way faster for me. And also, I don't have to rely on the assets that they have in here. For an example, these raindrops here are supposed to resemble different car pieces, and I had to tell them that. Also, it's kind of funny. It's cool to also have like this kind of storyboard when you're already in a good conversation where you don't feel like you need to overly, I don't know, surprise them with a crazy looking concept. Just be like, okay, I know this looks pretty shitty, but bear with me here. We can do this, we can do that. It's going to be like that, blah, blah, blah. It's a good conversation starter to also just like have a concept like that in place. And it was enough for me to talk about my ideas and give them a rough understanding of what I want to do. And also do a little description here. This was for the second concept. I used AI for that one, actually. Created a few different shots. I'm not super happy with how this turned out. I think I would have liked it to be a bit better, because these shots are not really how I want them to be, but it was enough for them to look polished, to kind of look great. These were just generated from images using Runway. And yeah, just raw shot description of what this will be. So yeah, this was the concept. Then I also prepared a few location suggestions for them, and I gave them 2 options, which is also great. So instead of just giving them one thing and they sit there and be like, okay, this is what we have to work with now, give them options to choose from. I knew they were going to go for this one. This works way better for the idea, for the concept, for the brand. But I wanted to have a conversation with them, right? I wanted them to feel like, okay, we can talk about something here. We can discuss something. This is very small detail, location. We can obviously change everything about it. But the whole call was more about, okay, what location do we do to da-da-da-da? And it felt like a more engaging conversation that rather than me sitting there and be like, okay, this is what we do, this is how we do it. And then they just being there and be like, okay, cool, accept it. Do you know what I mean? It was more of a open conversation. And I think this was just like an old concept that I had. But yeah, this is the rough concept that I shared with them, not as a presentation without no comment, but in a call where we also, where I presented it. And I feel like this is also what sold the whole idea a lot better, because I sat there with confidence and I was like, okay, let's do this. This is what we're going to do. Sat there with excitement.
So you recorded or you have already the footage of the location recorded, and then you are going to match that footage with the 3D.
Exactly. Yeah. The idea is I haven't shot it yet. I've done some test shots, but the car, they will send out the car to me. So I'll have the car here and I will shoot it on Saturday this weekend, probably have a cameraman with me and a few people to record the shot. And then I'll match it in 3D, track it, and then have the car pieces fly through the buildings and then come towards me and build around me as I'm walking. This is like the effect. I haven't done this before. So again, I hope it's going to look cool, but I'm confident. I think it's going to turn out pretty cool.
So the little video that you reported into the slides, it was part of the presentation, or it came up like the one that was like resembling all the pieces into the car in which you were there?
This was referenced. This was from somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw it and I was like, this is cool. We can do that. But I also told them that we will make sure it aligns with your brand's identity and all that stuff. That was kind of it. That was how the whole onboarding, the whole conversation went. And again, this is not a blueprint. This is only for reference. This is one example, but every sales conversation can obviously go in a different way. And sometimes they take longer. Sometimes they don't respond. It's you never know. It's always
But it's nice also to see that they took time to answer to you, because they were thinking about having more stuff from. So instead of you were thinking maybe that was something going bad with the offering or something like that.
Yeah.
It was them more thinking about which was the best way to use your expertise for their advantage, right? So it's nice also to see the behind the scene of the reality.
Yeah. Exactly. It's always a back and forth. And at the end of the day, I like when the client trusts me. And I think the more I can do to kind of give them the feeling that I know what I do, even though maybe I don't, is good, right? So the more they feel like, okay, we'll just trust you with that, the more expertise I put in, and the less room I give them for hesitations, the better. I just like, okay, lock this in. We'll move forward. We'll do this. We'll need that from your side. Being aware, being in contact with them, not letting them wait. All that stuff goes into it. And then I think hopefully the process will run smoothly. The shooting, I think, deadline is a bit crunched. I need to share a first draft for the animation for the second video by the end of the week. This is a bit stressful right now, but
We have a question from Drew. Will you have document this next shot? Would love to see the process.
Yes, I will be documenting how I shoot it. I will have someone. I'm trying to for the future shoots that I do now. I will do a lot of behind the scenes, breaking down the whole thing. I will do one video from it, so it will be like a vlog / BTS / kind of breakdown of how the shoot went. I'll have 2 people on set that will document the whole thing with BTS cameras. And it's funny because at the end of the day, this is not like a traditional film production, right? At the end of the day, I only need 1 shot or 2. This is kind of, but they sent me the car for 4 full days, so I can kind of go around with it, play with it a little bit, and I can kind of test it out and see what we can do, and then just document
it. You can also record, something for you, for your
exactly
stuff.
Yeah. So this is kind of, interesting, I think.
If you are in Texas, we'll love to come out and capture BTS for you.
If I'm in Texas, cool, man. Maybe, hopefully, I might go there at some point. The right opportunities come. Actually, I was approached by this one company from Texas, like a chicken company. I think they do chicken wings or whatever. could be could be cool. All right. Yeah, I think this was kind of it. I hope this was helpful. Again, let me know what you guys are interested in. I'm more than happy to show you stuff like this. I mean, obviously, I cannot go into details of pricing and all that stuff. I'm happy to share as much as possible. I just need to know what it is that you guys are looking for. And as Aladdin said, last call, breaking down a conversation like that is no problem for me. I just need to know. So if you have any questions regarding any more in-depth stuff for the creators calls, please let me know. Let the moderators know so we have those topics in place. I'll just prepare something real quick and then go through
If you
something
want,
like
I
this.
can anyway ask questions in the community and
Yeah.
summarize what we have seen today. Obviously, there will be a recording. There will be then
Yeah.
content regarding to that. But I think it will be also useful for the one not attending if they are interested in this
Yes.
kind of stuff for the future.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
this will be the approach that we want to have, not questions about something,
Yeah.
but more seeing things in action. So
Yes, exactly. So that's what we're trying to do with the creators calls, and we'll bring on a lot more people. So instead of just me sitting here talking about my stuff, we will try to rebrand this creators call as like a podcast format where we have different guests, different other creators. So feel free to also send suggestions for people you would like to see, like to ask some stuff about. And yeah, I think this was it.
yeah, we reached
I
almost the time. So
Awesome. I really need to drink something now. My mouth is pretty dry. Hopefully that was insightful. We'll upload the stuff, the recording to everybody who couldn't attend it. I think if we just summarize it with this topic, that will be a lot more, a lot more people will be interested in that because it's very specific. Cool. Awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was super interesting. Thanks for your time, and too. Also, you had the chance to talk so much. So
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you for everything. I mean, it's nice to see a real world scenario and not only, I mean, guessing and
Yeah.
trying to find a path. I think that each and every client has a different way to approach and attention.
Yeah.
It sounds also, I mean, it sounds also nice to me thinking about that. Even if they know that there are competitors there already working with you, they don't
Yeah.
care. They use this as a trend to use
Yeah.
you. That's just
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, they were like, okay, you've worked with other brands. This gives them just a feeling of, okay, he's worked with other brands. So, and the more brand references you collect, the better, obviously. And at some point, you need to make sure that you do what you like and what works best for you. But it's a great reference. It's a great company. The people are super nice. By the way, this is also one thing that I didn't touch upon, but having a good relationship with the people and making jokes and also giving them like a little personal, because at the end of the day, sit there, they're humans. One of the guys followed me on Instagram. I saw his profile. It's just like a fashion dude. He likes fashion. He's like sitting there in his corporate office, and when he goes home, he does fashion. So I kind of touched up on that. So we have this very natural conversation. We talked about what they do after this work. So it's very personal, and this also makes the work relationship a lot easier when you have a personal, good connection to the people.
Yeah, Daniel says thanks a lot for sharing the whole negotiation process with us, Lenny. Definitely learn a lot from this call. One thing only, sorry if I'm keeping
Yeah.
you here.
No worries. That's
So,
what I'm here for.
I don't know, for some reason I was thinking that you were the one modeling the car. So you can also ask them. So you made it also already in the past with the
Yeah.
other clients to have the file. Obviously they have it because they need to design everything. So
Yeah.
I expect that they have people.
Everything that I don't need to do saves me time and saves me money. And if I usually, when I work with brands like that, I make this a requirement, because modeling something, remodeling something, I don't do modeling. I don't like modeling. It doesn't excite me at all. If I have to do it, I usually bring on people that do it, that are good at it. But in this case, getting the model from them. Still, by the way, they sent me the file. The file was super messed up. It was so complex. It was all over the place. So I needed someone to refurbish that, clean it up. So they send it to me today. I will have to check it. Hopefully everything works so I can meet the deadline at the end of the week. But yeah, this is how it's going. This is how it works for this one. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank
sorry
you,
for the
Manuela.
questions. Yeah. And yeah, see you next week for another creators call, and then see you in the next sessions for the other topics if you want.
Exactly. Thank you so much, guys. All right. See you
Bye.
next week. Bye.
Bye.
All right, cool. I think that was nice. I
Yeah,
think these
different than